Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. So I would like to officially welcome you to 2023. Happy new trip around the sun. Happy New Year. However you choose to celebrate it, all the same, happy new whatever. We keep moving. Humans are such weird creatures that we have to celebrate each trip around the sun. Well, hopefully the sun doesn't blow up in our lifetime. But today we'll be listening to a Clubhouse room recording from the Clubhouse archive, and this was titled "You Were Never a True Christian," with the air quotes. And this is something I'm sure a lot of us have heard from Christians, especially ex-Christians, who after the converting, when you're interacting with people who knew you when you were a Christian, maybe you were lukewarm or you were on fire for God, they end up telling you that you were never a true Christian. And this can be very triggering. It can be very annoying, especially if you are someone who was very committed and believed everything, fully, and you served God passionately with all your heart. In fact, when you were going through your deconversion, you were holding on, kicking and screaming. You didn't want to let go of God, only for someone to come and invalidate all that experience. It can be very infuriating. But for me, it was infuriating even if I wasn't a firebrand Christian. But over time, I've come to realize that it's just a self-defense mechanism. Because if they can invalidate your whole Christianity, they won't be forced to think that could they be wrong. That's the way I see it now. So we discuss it, people brought different perspectives, and I think this is something that you will enjoy and also relate to a lot. So if you haven't subscribed up, Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, and other places that podcasts are available. So now let's go and listen to the Clubhouse room that was titled "You Were Never a True Christian."
So today we get agenda today. Yesterday there was no direction. Today our direction it has to do with this common statement. I don't know if you have experienced it, where they tell you, when you tell someone you're an atheist, then in between the next thing is, you were never a true Christian. That's why you became an atheist. And what I want to do is just talk about how have you been responding to such? How have you experienced it before? How did you respond? Has your response changed over time? Then if a Christian come and tell us why they think we're never true Christians. So that one might spin off into many things, but let's see what will happen. So you were never a true Christian. That question can be annoying. Like, first time I heard it, I was like, are you a bastard? Like, who are you to tell me what a true Christian is like? Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Are you the Christianity prophet? What is your unit of measurement? What device do you use to measure my Christianity? Like, what the fuck? Like, it was maddening. Fucking maddening. But as time has gone on, let's say like in the past 2 years now, what I've realized that statement is a defense mechanism, in the sense that when the Christian looks at you, whenever you declare you're an atheist, there's already the implicit words that they are hearing is Christianity is a lie and your God does not exist. That's what the Christian most likely interpreted from just the word atheist. So I've come to I've become less angry about that statement, because I see it as a defense mechanism. Because if they can convince themselves you are not really a Christian, then it means that is why you were able to fall out and you do not understand the real Christianity. You never experience God, and so on and so forth. All is basically the no true Scotsman fallacy, and is nothing but a self defense. It's a way to defend themselves from the possibility that you, the atheist, are right. And it spins off into what makes you think you yourself are more Christian than the next Christian. And it goes into a snowball effect. But I have learned to not be angry, or I'm still learning, let us say, depending. I'm still learning not to be angry when I hear these stupid statements. You were never a true Christian. It is nothing but a defense mechanism, but it can also be very undermining. It can undermine your experience, the whole deconversion process, and letting go of something that was a core belief, especially those who were very, very serious, the spirituals. So just imagine someone that was a pastor, someone that was an evangelist, very strong in the Lord, and now became an atheist, and someone will come and tell them, you were never a true Christian. Like, motherfucker, are you fucking kidding me? So that's where I see it now. It's a defense mechanism, but it can be annoying. And I'm trying more and more to either ignore or just laugh it off. That's the way I do. So Ziatali, you wanna go?
Yeah. I mean, I've only ever heard this statement like twice. And for the most part, I just ignore it. That is all I can.
Is it me or your volume is low also?
Okay, sorry, can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've experienced this question like a lot, and it's reached the point where like I'm like dead to the statement itself. So when I hear it again, I'm just like, honestly, the only time I asked someone a question, I was like, okay, so what makes a true Christian? And the guy was like, oh, that if I was a Christian, I would never have doubted, and the doubt would not have like caused me to change like the way I think and all that. And then honestly, in my mind, I just asked him like, how do you want me to be part of something where the first thing they tell you is not to doubt anything they say? Like, isn't that a cult mentality or something? And he was just staring at me, and honestly, that's like my go-to line of thought. Just ignore it because it really doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, that is just it. It's more insulting. It's an insulting question or statement for them to say. But it doesn't really bother me like that.
I think it's meant to be insulting. It's intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it's meant to insult and defend at the same time. So,
And they don't want to believe that someone that was part of the religion like found a way out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to ask. Does anyone here school? Did anyone here school in America? I just need to ask. No.
I did.
Okay, King. Oh, were you an international student or?
Yeah, international.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, guys. I just came in and changed the top. I just need to ask something. So, like, I got changed my status in school from like a non-resident to a resident, right? So my fees were like I think it was like 11K, yeah, at first. Now I think it has gone down to 3K. So I'm very confused. So I have 8. So like your grades and all stuff will determine your age, right? So I got 8 from all that because A-star student, you know. And I have balance from the 8. I have extra balance from the 8. So is it that I should go and cash out this remaining balance, or it will just go to the next term? Like,
I don't know because I didn't have any aids, unfortunately. But
international schools struggle.
yeah, I'm not sure. I would assume
Go and
that
try and cash out.
Right?
yeah, I would assume if
What's
you don't
that
cash
weapon?
out,
You say
it
no.
would apply to the next semester. That's
Semester,
my
yeah.
guess. Yeah.
All right, let me just see. All right, about this. But speaking on the topic, when you're a true Christian, like I know I used to carry the Bible on my head, right? Like if people, I had this one friend, he's from Cuba, and he was actually the first atheist I ever met, right? So we would have these long-winded conversations about, oh, okay, so if an atheist who created the world, and me, right? And then he will be explaining his own point of view. So one day we were actually having like a debate, and then this random guy comes out of nowhere. He is Nigerian, so maybe that's why. Very bashful people. And he's like, "Oh, are you an atheist?" And the Cuban guy answers like, "Yeah, I'm atheist." And he's like, "Well, you're going to hell, right?" And my friend just gets so upset, and he actually starts crying a little bit because, well, he's a kid, and I felt so offended. Like, why did he just say that? Like, oh, you're going to hell. So I started to get very interested in this like religion thing, and I'm someone who liked going to church. Okay, that I really like praying, all this stuff. Like, I was very into the Bible, but it was like as if I was reading the Bible here and making up my own conclusions of the Bible. I wasn't actually seeing the stories, the problems in the stories. So I could read like a story of Job, but and be like, yeah, this is how God tests us sometimes, but we have to persevere and be strong. All that, because I had like a different mindset when reading the Bible. So this is why when we have like the atheist Bible reading, it's such a strange thing when these things come up. Like when we see some fucked up parts in the story, because it's like, as a Christian, I did not see any of this. Everything made so much sense to me. So I started like going through it and everything like that. And then eventually I was like, you know what? This thing, if it's real, it seems evil. Like this thing looks evil. This God that people worship is evil, right? And from there I went to like spirituality, and then became an agnostic, and I finally became a heathen, an unbeliever. So when I would talk to my friends, because my friends are mostly like Christians and Muslims, they'll be like, well, maybe you just never believed in God, right? You never actually believe, you're not actually a real Christian, which is funny because we all have the same prayer sessions together. Regardless of whether I'm atheist or not, like you see, I go for prayer sections. We all go to the same church. And when I was a Christian, they were all saw how much we used to have like prayer meetings, and we'd be praying in the dorm, stuff like that. And so I used to hold their prayers. So it's like, why do you assume that me that was doing all this work, you guys know that if I sleep at night, I'll read the Bible. Why would you assume that I wasn't a true Christian, if not cognitive dissonance?
Because if you're a true Christian, you can never stop being.
Yes, and if you're a true Christian and you lost your faith, what's stopping me from losing mine? Yikes. Wahala. Wahala. Dobbs, I think you do you want to give us a different perspective? I think you are coming from a different side of the aisle.
In terms of what?
The statements. Do you ever say it, or has someone ever said it to you?
Oh, you were never a true Christian?
Yeah.
No, no one ever said that to me. I was deceived. I was deceived and I was misled. I had a fake pastor, um, so, and then I left Christianity pretty early. So I was devout like when I was like 15 or so. Yeah, but I became disillusioned. But yeah.
Ranting, do you mind if I share something?
All right.
Okay. So I've never been told that I wasn't a true Christian before, but I've seen people like I've seen like other Christians tell former Christians that they were never true Christians. But 2 weeks ago, I was on Clubhouse. I was in a room, right? And it was kind of like a Christian and Muslim room. And I think a Christian, I was speaking, and I said like I was a former Christian, right? And then this one girl was like, well, like you said you're a Christian, and she was asking me a bunch of questions, right? And one of the questions was, do you believe did you believe that Jesus is God, right? And I was like, yeah, I did. But she was basically saying like, oh, she listed a bunch of stuff, and she said like, for you to be a Christian, oh, these are the criteria, right? And one of them was that Jesus is God, right? So I was like, well, not all Christians believe Jesus is God, right? Like some Christians think or believe that Jesus is the Son of God, but he's not God, right? So basically, this is the whole Trinitarian concept, right? Where people think Jesus
Yeah.
is God the Son. So he's God. There's three persons. There's one God, but there's three persons. It doesn't really make sense. And I used to believe this because I was an Anglican, and that's what Anglicans believed, right? So I used to think, yes, Jesus was God. He's God the Son. There's God the Holy Spirit, God the Father, but there's one God. It doesn't make any sense. And anyone that tells you, you just don't understand. It's bullshit. But anyways, so it was funny to me because I was trying to, I think everyone in the room, they were all Trinitarians, right? So they were telling me that like anyone that does not believe that Jesus is God is not a true Christian, right? So it was funny to me that even within Christianity, so you can have somebody who believes that Jesus existed, right? That Jesus was the Son of God, and Jesus died and suffered for their sins, and he rose again. So you can believe everything. But if you don't believe that Jesus is God, some Christians will say you're not a Christian. I just thought that was kind of funny that, yes, there are the former Christians and atheists that get this stupid, I guess, insult, whatever you want to call it. But there's also, even within the religion, there's other Christians that are ostracized by other Christians saying, yeah, you're not a true Christian, you're a heretic. So I just kind of thought that was fascinating as well, like how confused the whole religion is.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because to Protestants, Catholics are not Christians. To Catholics, Protestants are not Christians, and the never-ending civil war continues. Israel, you did there?
Yeah.
Over. Sweet,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
go after Israel. Sweet.
No, sure, it's
Go
kind
after
of
Israel.
good.
I just want to say like,
Okay, yeah, sweet.
I just want to say it's like funny how Christians they all other Christians.
Your network, they get kwashoko.
Make I feel bad.
I go settle down. Sante.
Yeah. So, like, I have maybe a slightly different perspective in the sense that, like, I don't know, my own the conversion has taken a really long time. Like, I started, I think maybe I didn't
Volume or your
identify
volume,
that.
I can't hear you well.
Is it better now? Is it better? Can anybody hear me?
Just go
I can
on,
hear
go
you.
on, go on.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
Okay. So, like, I from a very young age, from like primary school, I've kind of been the person that is always resisting, like the one that they will say go to church and they have to force me. Like, of course, I'd end up going because I was a kid and they can force me, but they had to force me. They've always had to force me from childhood. So, like, when I finally had began to call myself an atheist, I just took maybe a few months to like explore. Like, I was going to church like regularly, and I was trying to like to see whether there's any way to communicate with this God that everybody keeps going on about. But it didn't work out. Like, it was a test basically. Me, like, the only time I've really seriously gone to church, it was a test to see how far my go try hard at this guy, see whether I'm gonna answer me, and nobody fucking answers shit. So when someone says, "Oh, you were never really a Christian," it's like, yes, and like that's basically my own response to that.
Yeah,
The
that's
question now
that
is
of
like,
it.
but the question is like, how do you know it? Because everybody now their own. Like it seems like people who say these things, you like their own way of Christianity is like bad.
Huh?
When you ask them that,
Your network, bro, is going in and out.
let's say I would just listen and say,
Hey,
Can I speak or
yes, please, please.
hello and good evening everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing okay.
You are still alive.
Well, fine.
Last night last night, there's someone who came on. The guy just frustrated me. I was just fed up with the nonsense. I just had to leave. Allow him to have his space. Ranting, I think you were fast asleep by then.
Oh yeah.
This Christian.
Oh yeah, I was there. The guy was very annoying. I think it was
very.
that was dealing with him. Yeah.
What did he do?
It was one guy. I don't know. It was one Christian guy like that. Yeah. You know how white people talk, right? Like if you say something in this logical sense, right? They will try and put hypotheticals and be like, "Well,
Yes.
how do that thing is real?" If it's like, yeah, those kind of talking points.
It was being very, very dishonest. Really, very dishonest. And I think for me, why I was not happy was, there was that one young man came to speak, and you could tell that he was so happy to have found a place like this where he can open up and just, he was just so excited. I was so happy to listen to him. And then this other person just had to come and center his Christianity. Oh, it was so frustrating.
I would have kicked him out if I was how he did.
Now because Ranting don't sleep,
Don't knock.
Anyway, I wanted to just talk about the subject of the room. It's mainly on Clubhouse here, engaging with other Christians that really I've been told, oh, you were never a Christian to begin with. And when I asked them, okay, so who is a real Christian? What are the hallmarks of a real Christian? That's where the confusion comes, because Christians cannot agree on who is a real Christian. The one person said to me, he said, "Oh, it is a conversation that we will have to enter into. It will take a long time for him to be able to engage in that conversation with me. So we will find time and do it another day." So I asked him, does he preach to people? Does he go proselytizing? He does. So what exactly are you proselytizing? What exactly are you preaching to these people? Whatever you're preaching doesn't take forever to preach. But when I ask you what exactly makes a real Christian, I get answers like, it's going to take a long time, So anyway, on one stage, everyone said, all the Christians said that I was not a real Christian. Okay. One person said, what makes a real Christian is a follower of Christ. That was one, a follower of Christ. Another one said that you have to, what was it they said? They said, I have not been introduced to the good news of Jesus. So I said, okay, so what is the good news of Jesus? Or, just the usual stuff. And I told them, I said, from everything you people have said, I was a Christian and more. I wasn't just your everyday Sunday Christian. But Christians don't have a consensus on what exactly makes one a real Christian. But I feel like they say that because, can you imagine you being in a religion where you wake up, go to sleep every day believing that you have to be subservient to this creator, where you have to give your life, you have to give your everything. It's like this person owns you. This person is not existent, but they own you. And then somebody comes from nowhere and says, I reject that, it's like someone being in prison. And someone says, no, I can just walk out of the prison any day I like. But the prisoner cannot leave their prison because they think that they're still chained in this thing. So they envy that person who has found the boldness to leave, but they haven't got it in them to be like that person. So I think in some cases, it's jealousy. Jealousy that they cannot be as bold and brave as you are. And secondly, I feel like it is, it is some people just need to be in a state of, subservience. they need to be constantly groveling and constantly seeking approval from this deity. When you realize you don't need to grovel, you don't need to seek. In fact, is that the deity needs to seek your approval. That deity needs to prove himself to you and not the other way around. So can you imagine someone who has dedicated their life to constantly serving this being? And then there are people out there just not even caring at all that they have subjected themselves to that, to those shackles. So they put their frustration on you. That's what they're doing. They're not being honest when they tell you that you are not a real Christian to begin with. It's just, a way to make themselves feel good in their prison that they have subjected themselves to. It's a way for them to make themselves feel like, okay, my shackles aren't so bad after all. So, I feel like when they say that, a lot of it is just projection. They're just projecting their frustration onto you. They wish to be like you. They wish to be free. But maybe it's fear, maybe it's jealousy, maybe it's something. So yeah, that's just my own contribution.
But you see, I hope they continue their religion, because some of them have the weirdest fantasy, right? Like, some of them will come in and be like, you're an atheist, do you want to fuck your mother, for example? Or you're an atheist, do you want to go and kill somebody? Like, uncle, what are you thinking about? Like, what is your religion stopping you from doing? And it's like very dangerous people. They should continue in their religion like that. That's not.
They say you want to.
That's it.
You want to go and sin.
Those ones are different breed.
What kind of things they'll be saying? They'll be like, me, I was atheist.
I'm like, I've been sinning while I was a Christian, so please.
No, someone actually told me that it's their Christianity that's keeping them from being a murderer, from being a rapist, from being a molester. That's what they said.
Yeah,
they said it's their Christianity that is keeping them. So I told them, I said, for you in particular, you need your Christianity. I beg you, whatever you do, hold on to your Christianity. Huh?
Hold it.
We don't want them running riots on the streets, please.
Enore, yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. I too have been told I was not a true Christian, particularly because I was raised Catholic, and Catholics are not considered true Christian.
Yeah.
Even though after my Catholic journey, I did Pentecostal, I did non-denominational, I did evangelical, I was just finding this God up and down. He said I didn't call on his name. I said I even went to his hometown to go and call his name. I didn't hear anything, no. So,
wait, you went to Jerusalem?
I was in Israel, Jerusalem, Bethlehem.
I waka, no one.
When you're done, I have a question for you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I've seen videos of people from Jerusalem. I've heard them asking, which Jesus. These people they don't really know the Jesus that we know. They're not so keen on Jesus Christ at all.
Yeah.
What was your perception when you got there? Are they crazy about Jesus like we Africans are?
There was a blend of Islam, Christianity, Judaism all in one spot. So you would think that this place that is really affiliated with Jesus would be heavily Christian, but no, it was pretty much all three religions concentrated. I don't even think my tour guide was Christian. So yeah, so that was part of what made me. I was like, man, this thing.
Did you go to the tomb where they said Jesus Christ was put in?
So the tomb itself, okay, that one is a different story, because apparently, okay, so I have a really, really severe case of ailurophobia, a really strong phobia for cats. And there are cats everywhere in Israel.
You see,
So at
in
the
Nigerians don't like cats. Jesus obviously likes cats.
no, more, this one was on a different level. So by the time we got, because that was supposed to be the end, towards the end of the tour, like the highlight of the tour, I was already like so traumatized that I didn't go down to the tomb. I was in the area, and they did ask me if I wanted to go down at that time, but I was just like, in fact, that one is a different story for another day. I mean, there are two places that they speculate, and that was the other thing. Everything was speculation, right? This is where it was speculated that this was where it was. I'm like, all this, I paid all this money to come and be seeing speculation. But the place that they believe was Golgotha and all of that. Yeah, I saw all of those, but the actual tomb was the only thing I didn't see because I was completely over the cats by then. And I know some people in my party went back because apparently there was some divine between that one and the birthplace of Christ, which was one star. I mean, there was a star on the floor, and people were like rolling on the floor, crying.
What, like Hollywood?
Wow.
It was a bigger star than Hollywood, though. It was like one star where they're like, this
Nigerians, Abi.
is the sports going on. All of them. There was a Kenyan guy that was in my party as well.
We're finished. Fuck.
Yeah. So, and I think that one also added to my kidney because I was like, I'm really not feeling all the things that these people here are feeling. No. The only thing I thought I felt was when we arrived Jerusalem, there was a feeling of like there was this chill that we felt. But then when I thought about it later on, I was like, wait, we just came from a tunnel, so it's very possible that was what we experienced.
That
But
it's air.
yeah, so other than that, everybody was like, oh my gosh, oh my this. And I was just like, God, where are you? Like, this is, you know.
More marketing.
And so for people to tell
I've
me,
told you
Serious
guys that we should open
marketing.
a church in Nigeria so we can all be those people money.
oh,
And
open
open
church.
church for
Yes, who knows the
Nigeria.
Bible like an
Open
atheist?
church.
Honestly.
We'll make bank.
Oh God.
Forget it.
Israel makes a lot of
Wallah.
money from all the pilgrimages and stuff, though. So it's literally tourism for them.
It's a tourist center. So
We just need
See,
to.
anyone that opens a church, just invite us, your fellow atheists. We'll come and pretend to be pastors.
We'll be your deacons.
That's right. They won't know the difference,
Yeah, no, maybe Clubhouse people will not be like, aren't these the atheists of Clubhouse? Not be like, no, we change, we seen Jesus.
Holy Spirit has touched our lives.
Yes.
But we need to.
The Lord has led me to open a church and open your wallet.
If we make people like TB Joshua or Idahosa into a deity, I think we can be onto something there. We just have to figure out, because didn't they say somebody saw TB Joshua ascending into heaven or something? So we just need to build up on that, and I think we can make
Sure.
something there.
Problem is,
On a golden chariot.
the problem is we have cameras and so Christians are skeptical towards other religions.
I'm starting to believe that the ultra religiousness either comes from trauma or poverty. Like, cause hear me out here, Nigerian Christians in the diaspora don't go to church until something bad has happened. Then all of a sudden, like I told you guys, how my auntie who don't go to church like that, so all of a sudden, because of the COVID hit her job, she now started going to church. Church people now said that her family members have carried her name to covenant, right? They'll carry her name to shrine to go and pray against them. She called us and was like, so you guys, after everything I've done for you guys, because she basically raised her sisters by herself, right? And she's like, after I've done for you guys, I'm going to go and take my name to shrine. And like, everybody in the house is like, what? In God's name, like Shrine Guinea, we are talking about our lives. Why do you think we'll care to carry you? If I could make myself rich, why would I go and carry sacrifice to make you poor? The sense isn't sensing. But yeah, like, it's when bad things happen, you see people start running to church. Nigerians in the diaspora don't go to church, though. Those ones, they will stay in their house, saying that, I believe in Jesus, but they never seen inside church before. So it's really like a poverty mindset type of thing. Poverty and trauma
I
based.
ask you for here now. So
was the one that they paid their time.
sweet, your network. Oh,
No,
they don't meet you today. Waiting up.
I
Yeah,
don't think
like
people.
my sister lives in the States, right? I think there has to be like we do have like almost exclusively Nigerian churches in the States, although they're not that many. I think part of the problem is that a lot of the churches are filled with Black Americans and white Americans, and Nigerians are looking for their fellow Nigerians. Like my sister, well, let me use as an example, lives in the States, and she consults pastors from here. Like she has been duped a couple of times because she keeps trusting these bastards back here. You understand? But I don't know how often she goes to church over there. But she's still quite serious about the whole Christian bullshit.
So
That's why I'm like, it's a trauma
Wait, can
based.
you guys hear me now?
Wait.
Ranting, am
yeah,
I
so
clear?
Now you're clear. Okay,
Yeah, this
let's
is what
switch
I'm
gears.
saying
I've been
that
trying.
No, I
Switch
did come, I did
over.
come, I did come.
Okay, yeah.
this is why I say it's like a trauma based thing because I don't think people realize how badly traumatized Nigerians are. Like as a country, the things that a lot of Nigerians have
yes.
seen is enough to make you like go cycle. Like I've seen people narrate how they saw people get run over by a bus here in graphic details, and the person is walking around dilly-dallying around that, oh, there's nothing wrong with me, whoop-de-doo. Like a lot of Nigerians are very much traumatized, so a lot of them hold on to that religion like as a, oh, this is my saving grace, this is one thing that can understand me, because we don't have therapy in Nigeria. And this to show you that's why a lot of our ancestors were very religious, because they didn't have shit like therapy or like group talk where they talk about their issues. All they could do was to pray to their gods.
So here in the UK, because of the way people have now realized that if you have a Christian organization, you make money, you get rebates when you register your church as a you register
Charity.
it as a charity, so you get rebates, and so you find most of your churches in Nigeria have branches in the UK. They will even have 1, 2, 3 branches in different cities. Yeah, so and it's good business, and you find most of these churches, what they do, they get the members to send percentages to the church, the head church in Nigeria. Now, these people's church, RCCG, those ones, they are criminals. RCCG, those
The
ones,
business enterprise, like everybody is
RCCG,
a boss.
RCCG demands, I don't know what the percentage is for RCCG. And that's why Adeboye was saying the pastors should go and tell all their members that they must pay, everybody must pay tithes. Yeah? So there was one pastor in America who he actually decided that he has had enough of Adeboye. He was a pastor under Adeboye, but him and his church, they realized that Adeboye is scamming them. So him and the church decided that no, we want to be free from Adeboye. So he came out openly and said, no, I don't want to be a part of Adeboye anymore. He left Adeboye's ministry, and so he took the church with him. You get it? He took the members, and so everything was already made for him. But he was now no longer, or he was public. He was all over the
Yeah, I
Insta blog
remember.
and all
Yeah, I
that.
think
So
what I heard about that story, Redeem was like trying for him to transfer all the assets to Redeem, then while
to Redeem.
he takes the liability. That was the simple gist. Yes, the liability was going to be on his head, while the assets will belong to the church. Like
Now, the other thing here in the UK, you find there are churches that are predominantly Nigerian churches, just Niger churches, and for me, it's a big shame. It's a big shame that you go to church, not one white person. So what they used to try and do, they say, oh, let's try and make our church a bit, let's try and cool down on our religiosity. so that white people can be coming. How can you be doing night vigil every Friday and you expect a white person to come? Now, I've also realized that for most of them, going to church is actually the one and only place they get to wear their ashoke, their ashoebi, they get to eat their jollof rice. Because some of them don't have, for most of them, the church is a community. Yeah? And on a good day, they can't wear those their African clothes to work. When it is the winter, that winter time, when it's winter, you can't wear those clothes to outside. But most of these people, you find them on Sunday when they go to church. Somehow they will wear those clothes. Those ones they've just finished sewing, they brought back from Nigeria. Yeah, I've heard people in the church that if I don't go to church, where will I wear my clothes to? Where will I show off my asho? So a lot of people come to church just to show off their African clothes. Some people, they are in church because when they want to do birthday, yeah, you find that a lot of people use the church, right? The pastor will allow them to use the church for birthdays. So that way they don't have to go and pay a hall. They don't have to pay for the use of a hall. So a lot of people actually go to church but have ulterior motives. Yeah? Ulterior motives why they go to church. But predominantly Nigeria, we have the Nigeria, like CAC have their own, Redeem have their own, what's his name? The Jerry Coyle pastor, what's that one's name?
Pastor Chris.
That's one. That's one. Yeah, they all have their own individual churches, though, strictly for themselves only. Yeah.
That's clothes Sunday clothes aspect. Is also
sorry, something. Forgive me. We are only like half of those on stage now, so let me just so that they will just add before we go popcorn style fully. You get Gooby, you never talk.
Good evening, sir.
How father?
How are you, sir?
They're right.
Well, I don't really have so much to add. I'm just listening in. People are sharing, so we're just learning from everyone's experience.
So nobody has told you you're never a true Christian. You actually you were never a true Christian, just like something.
No, I was, but the thing is, for me, all those things don't really mean much. They will come up with all those things and make personal attacks. I don't. Those things don't offend me. When they start saying all those things, I just laugh. But I've heard it before, but it doesn't really mean anything to me.
But how does one know he was a true Christian, he or she?
That is number one question. Because what is the true?
You feel the spirit.
Question for the gods, man.
We've all felt different things. But when you actually look at the number of denominations of Christianity, so which one of them is actually the correct one? And then you can now go from there and say, okay, this is the one to follow and these are the tenants. But among yourselves, you guys can't even agree which one is. So, sorry.
Yikes. Yeah. All right, thank you, Gooby. Ready alternative, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was having really bad network, so I didn't want to say anything in case like my network was not good, but I think it's better now. So about the whole not a true Christian thing, I think it comes also from a place of creating an order because like if a Pentecostal meets a Catholic now and they say, "Oh, you're not a true Christian," and that in that way they feel validated. So like when they meet another Pentecostal, they feel close to them that you are the true Christian, I'm the true Christian. Let's be true Christians together. The other person is not a true Christian. So it's also like it's also the same way when you see an atheist that was once a Christian. To accept that they were once like them is unbelievable to them. So they order the person. They make them different. They make themselves unable to empathize and see the person's point of view. That way, they can now celebrate with the people that see their point of view and try and form this stronger community. And that's why I believe like Nigerians as a whole are very religious because I don't even think it comes down to the spirituality and to the gods and to the prayer. I think it's just that, like you said, we don't have therapy, and so a lot of people are just lonely and have a lot of unresolved issues. And the only way they can feel good about themselves is being with like-minded people. And for them to get that, there's no place you can get like-minded people like as strong as like a church or a mosque or things like that. Like, so yeah, I believe that that's that long game for community what drives people to say like we're not a true Christian. Because to say you're a true Christian means that at some point we're part of this community. And despite getting the love and the affection and the other good things in this community, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. Like you still choose that I would rather live the truth than to interact and have like this peace, this blissful ignorance with you people. And to them, that like hurts them. Like, it's like an insult to them. You try to pretend as though you were never really part of them in the first place. Like that's how I see it.
All right, thank you. Your network was already messing up, so it's good as they are finished. Network, well, this is our Nigerian network. Yeah, thank you, Reggie. Next is also wait. Let me please pronounce your name so that I don't butcher it. Gurua.
Nsongurwa.
Is that a Tiv name?
No, it's a Bibio name. I'm from
You're
Ibibio,
welcome.
Akwa
You're
Ibom,
welcome.
precisely. Thank you very much.
So,
Well, I'm enjoying the conversation, to be very honest. Like, I am so happy to be here. I joined this place today, and I've been following Ranting, but I didn't realize that I wasn't following the is it the room or the group, how they call it. So, I'm a non-religious African, and I practice African spirituality, like Black consciousness, if you like. So I'm quite happy with what you guys are discussing, and then I don't really discuss what's it called, the Christian thing with Christians because, to my own understanding, they are not people that want to be logical. They they try to excuse everything to do with fact and evidence, and they sell hopes to people, and these are all lies. And I just, if I have to deal with them, I deal with them for business because they're easy. You can easily manipulate them. But not to say I'm doing something not genuine in my personal life. But if I have to go to church, for instance, to say advertise something, I'll pop in because I don't see any. They are powerless. They just put they cannot survive without fear. They put fear on people, and if you know our history very well, you know when those who invade us or the invaders or the oppressors, they came as mercenaries and missionaries. Came as mercenaries and missionaries. The missionaries' agenda was to control the mind of the people, where they teach people how to forgive and forget. I can't, in my own understanding, a saying a compost mentis cannot forgive and forget. You forgive because you are a nice, good person, but you can't forget, you know. And the missionaries' agenda was to teach them, manipulate them, change their name, change their way of dressing, change their look, change their identity, you know, and then make them to see everything about themselves as being wrong, make them to see their ancestors as demon, while the people that are pushing them to behave this way are people that their ancestors have done barbaric things, kill, maim people, done all sort of shit, use proceeds from slave trade to open football clubs that people, Christians in Nigeria, every Sunday when they're back from church, lying to themselves, they don't take alcohol, they go sit down. Criminals with their side chicks say they have, I cannot even drag too much. And then they watch all this football that came into existence by proceed of slave trade and even the banking systems and all that by the neo-colonialism and capitalism of this world, which is against everything about the progress of the black man. Uh, um, so I I really don't. It's draining, mentally draining to hear these fellows speak. So we just have to live our life and stay happy and live by example. Like, let them know that we are humanist and we are living by example, not by what a book that is a cut and join story, things that does not have evidence. What nonsense! Lion and crocodile and goat will be inside one boat called Noah's Ark. That's a joke. That's an insult to people's intelligence. What nonsense with stories of Eve and Adam, Cain and Abel, Cain killed Abel. How come Eve had the other children? In fact, where are all those people come from? Where did they come from? What nonsense will they tell you that a serpent deceived Eve? Just rubbish. It's full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so irritating, man. I really don't want to drag you guys, but there's so much nonsense. If I have that time, I'll start talking about them. And this room is even on replays on. Then some of them will just pop in here and begin. Anyway, they can't even find me. But I just don't want to be. They are so daft that they're just full of shit. Let me just use the mic here. But I'm happy to be here.
Can I, is it possible to ask a question?
To ask him a question.
Yes, to ask him a question.
Okay.
The gentleman who just spoke.
Nsongurua.
Abade.
Idioko.
Okay. That's all I know. I don't really know.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm half Nigerian and my dad is from Akwa Ibom, but I don't speak his language. Anyway, you said you follow African spirituality. I'm curious, are there any specific people you follow? There's one particular gentleman that I've been, checking out his work. Not that I like him. I think he's a nuisance. But I'm just curious, who are the people that you subscribe to with this African consciousness?
That's a very good question. In African spirituality, to the best of my knowledge, is that from me? Okay.
I think it was Esther.
All right, thank you. So, to the best of my knowledge, African spirituality, best of my knowledge and what I have done in my life is about experience. It's about consciousness. It's about, you don't need anybody in between you and God and the universe. So, I don't follow anyone. We live by the tradition of our ancestors, and don't get me wrong. We question things and we fix things. If our ancestors had done practices that, if we look at it in this day and time, that is not in line with our spirituality, we bin that aside, and then we practice cleanness. So I do not follow anybody. Do not follow anybody.
All right.
Sorry.
Another question for him.
Yes.
Please, don't let it extend, though. I beg.
Make I just sit down.
Your turn self never come. Okay, after the next person, you. Oyeka. Oyeka, you don't knock.
No, I was on my laptop.
Oh, yeah,
Good
no.
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Like,
Wow.
you go like also kiss small, I beg.
Okay, let me know if I can switch.
Was that me or did you guys hear that?
No, you got those.
Wait,
You got those.
wait, happen now.
He shocked me. Ava,
Can you hear me now?
I mean, what? Everybody, can you hear him well?
Yeah. Sounds okay.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, this topic is exciting, and just like the song Guru has said, I don't really these sort of things do not bother me because actually only about 2 or 3 people have have mentioned or said something like that, telling me you are never a true Christian. One particular person actually surprised me because I was like, guy, 2 of us were preaching on the streets. 2 of us were running to church to pray for our exam scores to increase. 2 of us were praying to God for forgiveness. I was dragging you to church every day, and you were even saying such. The fact that he said such was very, very annoying for me. Was so after the guy just, if someone close to me could have said such, and no other person I would even to not even if another person would mention that kind of thing, I'll not even let it bother me at all. So it's not something I take too serious. Yeah.
All right. Exactly. I feel like your situation, he might be. I think it's a defense mechanism. In the sense that both of us were on fire for God, and you are falling now. So am I next? I think it's a defense mechanism. But it's all good. It's all good. Thank you, Eka. SJ.
And
Wait, someone else
Okay,
asked a
so
question.
so
You wait after.
this question is a weird one. That you were never a true Christian, because for some people it's true, but some people it isn't true. So some people were true Christians and they stopped being Christians, and some people weren't. A lot of them, to be honest, in my opinion, from what I've encountered, a lot of people weren't, and they stopped being Christians. So I'll identify what I mean by Christian. Now, a Christian to me is someone that's born again and is openly following Jesus, right? Okay, if you openly identify as someone that follows Jesus, then you're Christian. But some people go to church, fellowship, hang out with the brethren, read the Bible, and they never truly even clock the gospel. They know the burial, resurrection, death of Jesus, they know the scripts, and eventually they fall away. But there are some people that follow Christ for years and have never even believed the simple promise that Jesus guarantees eternal life to anyone that believes in him for it. A lot of people believe in Jesus plus themselves, plus what I can do. So I would say if you were born again or you believed and you openly follow Jesus, then you were a true Christian. It's that simple. But some people are following Jesus and they never believed in him, or they never believed simply what they believed he existed. They believed he was God or whatever, but they didn't believe the simple promise that their salvation is based on Jesus alone. So some people were not true Christian and they flopped. They fell off. Well, I wouldn't say flopped, but they fell away. And some people were true Christians and they fell away. It's that simple. All that matters is you believed and you believed the simple promise and you followed openly. That's it.
That's.
but there are true Christians that don't believe.
That's the problem though. So I would agree, but the thing is, if you're truly following Jesus, but you don't believe what he said, then
How is
you're
that
not really
possible?
sure you're following them.
So I
So
didn't
are you
mean
truly
But you
following
know
them?
there are different
believe
types
in. I mean
of
like
there are different
Like
types
there
of
are people that
Christians,
believe
right?
that follow Jesus but don't believe in him.
as God,
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I'm saying. And I think
Which
that exists, but
denomination
the
does that?
problem is,
Are you
can you?
sure you're not talking about
Christians
Jewish
really.
Wait,
people?
hold on, SJ, please.
Yeah, the problem is though, how can you say you truly follow Jesus? You can say you follow Jesus, but are you truly like correctly following him if you don't even
Okay,
believe what he
like
says?
SJ, can you like break this down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, being a Christian, yeah, is that you believe in Jesus Christ. You believe that he died and got resurrected, and then he will come back for judgment day, right? Or come back
Well,
to bring
we don't
eternal
need
life.
that. We
Yeah,
don't even need to
I'm
get into all
just
of that.
no,
That's what I'm saying. You're
I'm
making
not
it too
getting
complicated.
into anything. I'm just stating that you said they're very basic principles for you to be a Christian. You don't need to be born again, right? And live a life according to Jesus. So this is a thing that is being taught in at least most churches. I know some churches have different doctrines, but in most churches this is being taught, right? So we're going to assume that if you subscribe to these churches and subscribe to this notion, then you are a true Christian. So there aren't people that don't believe that Jesus Christ didn't resurrect or whatever. It's the basis of Christianity.
So is that a question?
Um,
Can I say
I
something?
think
So
it
I
maybe is
think
a counterpoint. Okay, King.
yeah, I think SJ was in the room that I was talking about, right? So I think SJ and King Coop in the audience were in that room where, like, if you don't believe Jesus is God, they don't consider you to be a Christian. So even if you believe like Jesus is the Son of God and he died and he rose
Oh,
again, that's not enough, right? You have to
and
believe that
that
okay, so you
I
must
is
don't,
add that
wait,
word
I don't know.
that
wait,
If
hold on,
wait,
King. What you
hold
just
on.
said,
I think
SJ, sorry. What you just
King.
referred to is the internal squabble of Trinitarianism and the Christian civil war that I call it. That's the way I refer to it. But SJ, go on.
No, I'm just saying that I don't. I think I was in that room, but I don't think I said that myself. So
yeah, I mean, no one.
Yeah, I don't think it's you that said that, but other
Yeah,
Christians did
yeah,
say
I just
no
wondered. Yeah.
Christian kind of like spoke up to say, or like no Christian spoke up to say like those other people are
you're wrong.
Christians too. Like so, like by silence, it's like so I took their silence to mean that they all agreed that if you don't believe Jesus is God,
But
right,
they were
you're
in the
not a
gulag.
Christian. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Please subscribe up Apple, Spotify, Google, and other places that podcasts are available. Then check out the links in the show notes below for anything you might find useful. Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.